There is a dangerous moment in every man's life when he starts looking at everyone else's progress and wondering, why am I still here? Someone else is making more money. Someone else is getting stronger. Someone else is building a business. Someone else seems to have the life you wanted. And slowly, you stop working on your own life and start monitoring everyone else's. But here's the truth most people discover too late. You don't become successful by watching success. You become successful by becoming the kind of person who can create it. And that's what Stoicism teaches us. Not to chase applause, not to obsess over results, not to constantly ask when success will arrive, but to focus so deeply on your own growth that eventually, success becomes the natural consequence of who you've become. Hello everyone. Welcome back to Wisdom Unbounding World. Today we're going to talk about something that can completely change the way you approach your goals. Focus on your growth until success has no choice. Not because success is guaranteed, but because when you continuously improve your skills, discipline, character, and decisions, you dramatically increase the chances of creating the life you're working toward. So stay until the end. Rule 1. Stop chasing the result. One of the biggest mistakes people make is becoming emotionally attached to an outcome. You want the money, the body, the business, the relationship, the recognition, the achievement, and because you want it so badly, you constantly check whether you've reached it yet. But every time you check, you interrupt your growth. The Stoics understood something incredibly important. You control your effort. You don't completely control the outcome. You can train, but you can't control exactly how quickly your body changes. You can build, but you can't control exactly when people discover your work. You can study, but you can't control every question on the exam. You can prepare, but you cannot command life to give you the exact result you imagined. Epictetus taught us to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. So instead of asking, when will I succeed? Ask, who do I need to become? That question changes everything. Because success isn't always something you chase. Sometimes, success is something you become capable of creating. Focus on becoming stronger, more disciplined, more skilled, more patient, more consistent, and let the outcome take care of itself. Rule 2. Compete with your former self. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to destroy focus. You open social media, and suddenly someone your age owns a business. Someone is traveling the world. Someone has built an impressive body. Someone just bought a house. And your mind whispers, you're behind. But behind who? You don't know their starting point. You don't know their sacrifices. You don't know their circumstances. You don't know what happened behind the picture. And most importantly, their journey is not your assignment. Marcus Aurelius spent his life reminding himself to focus on his own character and responsibilities. That's your job too. Your competition isn't the millionaire on the internet. It's the version of you from yesterday. Did you become slightly more disciplined? Did you learn something? Did you exercise? Did you complete the work you promised yourself you'd complete? Did you control your reaction? Did you waste less time? That's progress. And small progress repeated long enough becomes transformation. So stop asking, am I ahead of them? Start asking, am I better than I was yesterday? That is a competition you can actually win. Rule 3. Build in silence. There is something powerful about working without needing everyone to know. Modern culture teaches you to announce everything. New goal, new business, new routine, new transformation. And sometimes, talking about the goal gives you the emotional reward before you've done the work. You announce that you're going to change. People congratulate you. You feel motivated. And then, the motivation disappears. Seneca understood the value of directing attention inward rather than living for public approval. You don't need everyone to know what you're building. You need to build it quietly. Wake up, work, learn, train, fail, adjust, repeat. Nobody needs to applaud every workout. Nobody needs to know every hour you studied. Nobody needs to see every sacrifice. Let your results speak when they're ready. Because there is a different kind of confidence that develops when you know. I don't need to prove what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Work quietly. Improve privately. Let your transformation become impossible to ignore. Rule 4. Turn boring repetition into your advantage. Success is often romanticized. People see the finished product, but they don't see the repetition. The same workout, the same pages, the same business tasks, the same practice, the same mistakes, the same uncomfortable conversations. Again and again And again, that's where most people quit. Not because they can't succeed, but because they're bored before the results arrive. The Stoic understands that discipline isn't about feeling motivated every day. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when your emotions don't feel like cooperating. You don't need to love repetition. You need to become comfortable with it. Because every repetition is building something. One workout builds strength. One page builds knowledge. One difficult task builds discipline. One controlled reaction builds emotional mastery. One day of consistency builds identity. And eventually, those tiny repetitions begin to compound. So when your mind says, "This is boring," don't immediately believe it. Tell yourself, maybe this is exactly where my character is being built. The ordinary days aren't interruptions to your success. They are the foundation of it. Rule 5. Use failure as information. At some point, you will fail. You will make the wrong decision. You will miss the goal. You will lose money. Someone will reject you. Something you've worked on will not work. And your mind may immediately turn failure into identity. I'm not good enough. I'm terrible at this. Maybe I'm not meant for this. But failure doesn't have to be a verdict. It can be information. Ask, what did this teach me? What went wrong? What was under my control? What can I improve? What will I do differently next time? That's the Stoic response. Not denial. Not self-pity. Not pretending failure doesn't hurt. But using reality as a teacher. Marcus Aurelius faced war, political conflict, personal loss, and uncertainty. Yet Stoicism repeatedly returned to the same principle. Control your response. You cannot rewrite what happened, but you can decide what happens next. So don't waste your failure. Extract the lesson, make the adjustment, and continue. Because sometimes, the setback isn't moving you away from success. It's showing you the path you were supposed to take. Rule 6. Become so consistent that quitting feels strange. This is where everything comes together. Most people rely on motivation. They work when they feel inspired. They exercise when they feel energetic. They study when they feel focused. They pursue their goals when everything feels right. But life doesn't care about your mood. Some days will be terrible. Some days you'll feel tired. Some days you'll doubt yourself. Some days nothing will seem to work. That's when consistency matters most. Not because you must destroy yourself with work, but because you must keep the promise you made to yourself. Even if the effort is smaller, keep moving. If you can't study for 3 hours, study for 30 minutes. If you can't complete the entire workout, do something. If you can't solve the entire problem, solve the next part. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is continuity. Because eventually, consistency stops being something you do and becomes something you are. You become the person who shows up, the person who keeps learning, the person who keeps training, the person who keeps improving, the person who doesn't collapse every time life becomes difficult. And once you become that person, your life begins to change. Not overnight, but gradually, quietly. Then suddenly, people look at you and say, "You're lucky." They won't see the thousands of ordinary moments that created the extraordinary result. They'll only see the outcome. But you'll know, it wasn't one decision. It was thousands of small decisions. So remember these 6 rules. 1. Stop chasing the result. Focus on the work and the person you're becoming. 2. Compete with your former self. Your greatest competition is yesterday's version of you. 3. Build in silence. You don't need applause while you're building. 4. Turn boring repetition into your advantage. The things you repeat eventually become your strength. 5. Use failure as information. Don't ask why you failed. Ask what the failure can teach you. And 6. Become so consistent that quitting feels strange. Because when consistency becomes your identity, growth becomes inevitable. And here's something I want you to remember. You don't need to become successful tomorrow. You need to become better today, then tomorrow, better again, and the day after that, better again. Don't obsess over how far you have left to go. Look at who you were, and look at who you're becoming. Because the person who improves every day eventually becomes difficult to recognize. Your confidence changes. Your discipline changes. Your standards change. Your habits change. Your decisions change. And eventually, your circumstances begin to reflect those changes. Maybe right now, you feel behind. Maybe you're frustrated because you've been working, but you haven't seen the results you expected. Maybe you're wondering whether all this effort is worth it. Remember this. A seed doesn't become a tree because you keep pulling it out of the ground to check its growth. You water it. You protect it. You give it sunlight. And you allow time to do its work. Your growth is the same. Stop digging yourself up every week asking, "Why haven't I succeeded yet?" Keep watering yourself. Keep learning. Keep training. Keep building. Keep becoming. You don't need to know exactly when success will arrive. You need to make sure that when opportunity arrives, you're ready for it. So focus on your growth until your skills are undeniable.